America. We were living in the east by the Nile River, living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We wore silken robes and slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So my friend, it's easy to tell, white man heaven is a black man hell.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that Master Farad Muhammad said 6 words to us, and these were the 6 most powerful words that he spoke. He said, accept your own and be yourself. Accept your own. The Caucasians who brought our fathers into slavery desired to take us away from our own people, our own culture, our own religion, our own God, our own language. So we have grown up in America away from our own mind, away from our own selves, and so we have been actually indoctrinated with an alien mentality.
10,000 fearless men. Because we're going to have to challenge the things that are destroying our community. Wow. So this ain't no punk time. This ain't no temple time, mosque time, or church time. All the singing and shouting and preaching is over. Get in them streets now. Block by block. We're going to have to clean it up. The airwaves is not enough. The television screen is not enough. You got to put boots on the ground who are trained and are willing to make the sacrifice of life itself to see our community made a decent place to live.
Attention. Drill.
Soldiering is a part of the Nation of Islam, and it readies all of us to obey the commands of God. Now some will ask, well, why military drill? Because this is what produces the camaraderie.
Facebook and Instagram thought that they could ban the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
But in reality, they can't, because he already lives in us and millions of others.
قل أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. 'Cause 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 'C
In the name of Allah, Master Fard Muhammad, the one true and living God, to whom praise is due forever. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his messenger. Peace, family, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of WHID-FM. WHID-FM is your personal platform with those of us striving to follow the life-giving, life-saving teachings of the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as given to us by his premier pupil, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, gathered right here in this virtual meeting place to answer that most critical question: what has Islam done for me? Tonight it is Sunday, August 23rd, 2026, and at this time we're going to turn it over to our guest co-host for tonight, our beloved sister hailing all the way from mosque number 24 in Richmond, Virginia. She is none other than Sister Latifa Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, man. Oh, you on mute for us? There we go.
In the most holy name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. And we give praise and thanks to Allah for coming to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever. We thank him for raising the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is the exalted Christ, God in his own right. And we thank both of them for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is our divine final warner for this world. I greet you in their names and in the name of WHID-FM. Assalamu alaikum. We have an exciting show for you tonight, and we are awaiting our guest, Brother Romel 4X. And Brother Romel has been registered in the Nation of Islam at Muhammad Mosque number 7 in New York for over 2 years. He's very blessed and happy, he says, to be married to a mighty MGT, Sister Zakia 4X. And they are raising 3 beautiful boys, Brother Zaim, Brother Zamir, and Brother Zaki. Brother Romel enjoys teaching first-time investors and entrepreneurs how to buy already profitable small businesses. He has been extremely gifted and highly sought after, and an ever-profiting phenom of a successful entrepreneurship for over 12 years. Our brother has already assisted thousands of others to build credit and become financially independent themselves. So after seeing some of our ads where you are able and blessed to purchase, we will then hear from Sister Lawida Muhammad. Turning to you, Brother West, for our station ID and commercials.
Yes, man. Quick change of plans, Sister Latifa. Brother Romel actually did manage to join us. Praise be to Allah.
Oh, praise is due to Allah. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, man.
It is a pleasure to have you. And so you came in right on time. So we're going to get to our questions, and we are encouraging the audience to also please send in your questions, because this is really a special show by having an entrepreneur, one who is helping to repair credit in a day when people's finances are shaky and the world is crashing. So welcome, Brother Romel. So I want to start with my first question, because I'm really excited. Your bio said that you were 2 years registered in the nation. So as a new believer in the Nation of Islam, what was the attraction that made you want to register, and what made you just accept your own and be yourself in this time?
Yes, ma'am. It was the combination of things. Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. We can. I can.
Praise be to Allah. So it was a combination of things. I was actually introduced to the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I actually seen a lecture by student minister Nuri Muhammad on how to love the Black woman. And when I watched that lecture on YouTube, it was powerful. It impacted me immediately. And I had shared it with my wife, and we actually started to follow more YouTube videos. And we're from New York City, and student minister Nuri Muhammad had announced that he was going to be a guest speaker at Muhammad Mosque number 7 the following week. So I went out to attend That lecture that Sunday, and from that point forward, I was truly inspired. And then I was introduced to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I continued to watch lectures from decades ago, and then read the Message to the Black Man. And from that, moment forward, I knew that I needed to accept my own and be myself. My wife as well, she was a major contribution because she actually joined the Nation of Islam before me because she was inspired. And I'm just seeing her be able to go and continue to lead. I was super inspired by it as well. And, the rest was history.
Well, praise be to Allah, because I was going to ask you, because I really loved how you expressed that you were very blessed and happy to be married.
Yeah.
So how does having a marriage balance you as an FOI, being a successful father, being a successful businessman? And the other part to that is, did you all actually experience the courtship process? And if you did, can you share some of that with the listeners?
So we did not experience any of the courtship process. We actually were married prior to joining the Nation of Islam. So we had our, courtship process that was, out in the world prior, but
Yeah.
it was a blessing for us to join the Nation of Islam together and continue to grow our faith. And as we are taught that marriage and is your second half of faith. And, for me, being married is really what helped me to stay humble, right? Having someone to always know me outside of business, outside of traveling and just doing different things from a public standpoint. Having my wife that knows me before everything just keeps me grounded. And also having someone that support me during tough times is tremendously valuable to me. And just having someone to lean on has helped me throughout my journey to keep me focused and not get distracted, because it's easily, to get distracted out in the world. But it has helped me tremendously. So I am so grateful to Allah for my wife.
All praises due to Allah. You mentioned a very important word, and that was humble. And at the recent National Training Conference, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan addressed a portion of it, and he was talking about forsaking vanity and self-conceit in order to become a great student. Can you talk a little bit about how you're able to maintain that humility with the, apparent success that you have, and to be able to remain a student at the same time?
Well, we have the prime example in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He always states out he's a student first and foremost in this seat. And for me to see what he has done to rebuild our nation, I'm just inspired by it. And it just makes me realize, with all the business and development and impact that I've had, I still have to make sure that I'm a student. And I know first and foremost that I'm not here by my own doing, right? All praise is due to Almighty Allah God. And because I have that at the front of my mind to know that I'm not here by my own doing, it's actually very easy for me to have a humble spirit and to show humility, because I understand that it's only with the permission of Allah that I'm able to go and do some great things out in the world.
Yes, sir. In your field for credit repair and finance, and in a time when people are experiencing lots of ups and downs, first, how did you get involved in the credit repair? And if others, were seeking that, what would be some things you would share with them to get involved in that kind of business?
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So I have to give credit to my dad. My dad is an entrepreneur, and he always would tell me very young, make sure that you keep your credit good, build your credit. He made some bad decisions with his credit. So that's why he was able to tell us, hey, don't let my failures be your lesson. That's what he would always tell me. I remember he had me do a book report on a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was 9 years old. And I started to learn about investing. I started to learn about credit, at a very early age. He would take me to, workshops and seminars. So I grew up understanding the importance of financial literacy and credit. And once I was able to invest in myself, I invested in a mentorship, and I started to learn more about credit and finance, investing, real estate, and business. And a lot of people would start to ask me about how was I able to invest and buy my first property and all the different things that I was doing in business. So I started teaching the information just because a lot of people was interested. But I have to give credit to my dad because without him starting that, sparking that in my mind and making me read and study when I didn't want to, I wouldn't have understood the value when it comes to finance.
Praise be to Allah. So I'm glad you spoke of your dad. You're kind of reading off my paper, so I don't know what the synergy is, but you're going down my list of questions. All praises due to Allah. So another question in terms of your sons, your role as a dad, your role as an FOI, your role as a businessman. What are you giving to them like your dad gave to you? What are you transferring to them so that they will also be independent thinkers and do for self young Black men? And what are the ages of your sons?
I have 3 sons, 3 beautiful sons, 5-year-old, 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And I'm just so grateful and blessed to be able to lead them and be an example. I think first and foremost, that's the most important piece, which is being the example. So my sons, every single Saturday, we have our junior FOI class where they look forward to it. We have classes together, and we teach them the principles. My 5-year-old son, he can actually recite his general orders. He can recite the fruit code. So just really being able to take the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and strive to be an example, but do it with them so they can understand that dad is striving as well. I strive to be as transparent as possible with my sons so they can understand that there's always going to be obstacles. There's going to be a test, right? Things are not going to be easy. And I'm going to show them, even when I have hard times, that we can get through it together. I think that's extremely important. And teaching them the same lessons that my dad would teach me. So a lot of times, growing up, my dad, I would ask him, hey, Dad, can I get $10 to go to the barbershop? And he wouldn't just give me $10. He would say, well, what is the return on my investment? If I'm giving you $10 for you to go to the barbershop to get a haircut, how does that impact me? And when I was younger, it frustrated me. I was upset. Like, just give me the money. I don't want to explain anything to you. But it helped me to understand, how do I provide value? How do I think beyond every single move that I make? So I do that same thing with my sons. I teach them lessons of, hey, I'm gonna give you this money, but what value are you gonna provide to me, right? What is the return on your investment? How does this impact you? So they can think above and beyond. So these are the things that I actually do with my sons, and I love it.
What a beautiful way of thinking.
Yeah.
Can you take us through a day? Can you take us from a morning to an evening in the life of Brother Romel? What does that look like to the people who see you coming and going and impacting them throughout a day?
That's a great question, because it's not what most people think. A lot of people, they see me online and, a lot of business that I handle, and they think that I'm extremely busy, which I am, but it's not so much busy doing work. I'm actually with my sons. I spend a lot of time with my sons and helping my wife out around the house because, it's a tall task, right? To have 3 under 5, right? 3 boys with high energy, and Allah has blessed me to where I'm able to work from home. So I do own self-storage businesses, a few self-storage businesses throughout the country. I have some mailbox stores and other essential businesses, but I'm able to operate them remotely. So, I'm waking up for Fajr prayer, extremely important. We also have what is called the Power Hour. One of my other brothers, Saeed, out of Rochester, New York. We have the Power Hour where every single morning we read the Quran, or we study a lesson, we read a book, and then we have a workout session as well. So that's first thing in the morning, and then I'll make breakfast for my sons, so they look forward to it. And I'm actually so excited for that, because when I was growing up, my dad worked a 9-to-5 job, so he would be out the door by the time I woke up to go to school, and then by the time we get home, he's not home, and when he gets in and we're asleep essentially, so we wouldn't see him a lot, up early and getting in late. So the small moments of me being able to make breakfast for my sons every morning, that they look forward to it. So that's what I'll do first and foremost. And then I'll go into my day, start my meetings around 9:30, 10 a.m. And it's typically just working with different people on my team giving out different ideas, running errands, and then just really spending time with my sons. We do homeschool them. So I'm their culinary teacher. So I do culinary classes and then financial literacy classes, and my wife does the rest.
Praise be to Allah. So homeschooling and
Yes.
education.
Yes.
Can you talk about the choices that you all, or the things that you all considered to help you to decide to be homeschool parents? And is your homeschool situation what you would call traditional, where you sit and just teach, or is it one that is very fluid and your children learn from life? Can you talk about that to give other parents who are thinking about that some things to look at? That's a great thing that you all are doing.
Yes. So I have to give a lot of credit to my wife because she's a researcher. So she would be up all night, all day, studying, researching curriculums, joining different homeschool groups. And this was completely new territory to us because we both went to public schools, but we wanted to do something different, right? We wanted to be able to create an environment for our children to thrive in, that we could have more of an impact on them. And unfortunately, where we were located, there was no MUI. So essentially, we had to, take some resources and understanding from how the structure is with MUI and just create it in our home. It's been impactful, So it's not traditional, like going to regular school. We actually have a few other families that we will meet with different days of the week and have different lifestyle experiences and things like that. So it just gives them different life skills so they can learn how to work with other people, but also learn more about themselves, which is extremely, extremely important.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because that is something that a lot of people struggle with. I want to homeschool. How do I homeschool? And just the fact that you said research, giving them perspectives with other people, and then the fact that you all make culinary, you said.
Yes.
So I know growing up in my community, we used to have competition with men who cook. So what's your favorite recipe? What do you think your sons really wait for you to fix for them? And how does cooking play a part? Because you talk about it and you have this big smile. Yeah. So share a little bit about that interest that you have.
I love cooking for my family. My sons, my favorite meal, lamb chops. I make them lamb chops. They love lamb chops, salmon, rice. My wife is very, very good. She makes the bean soup. My sons, they love bean soup. But my favorite meal is to make them lamb chops and salmon. And, again, I get so much joy out of it. And they help me do it. So get to teach them skills so they learn how to cook. And they don't, have to think that they won't be able to cook for their family. They have these skill sets that they can actually, learn and develop and grow.
Right. You said, and I help my wife.
Yes.
Can you share that role? And you said it with such ease and with such genuine affection. Can you talk about how special that is when a Black man can see that sharing in the marriage and helping my wife is really important for the maintenance portion of marriage?
Yes, in full transparency, initially I did not like it. I was upset. I felt that I was taking on roles that I didn't expect, right? I didn't think that I would be cooking, cleaning, this is what your role is. Right? That was the mind that I had, but this is where the teachings are so important. In FOI class, I learned the true meaning of a husband, a husbandry, so to learn that we all play a role during the time that is needed. And I started to really think about me having the opportunity that most people don't have. When I would speak to my peers, they would say, wow, you get to stay at home and, work from home and spend time with your family. And I didn't value it until I seen that other people wish they had an opportunity where they didn't have to go clock in and clock out and didn't have time to be with their family. So now, for me, my mindset is I get the opportunity to help my wife. I get the opportunity to share the responsibility.
Yeah. Your sound went off.
Oh, can you hear me now?
And so you're going to have to do a rewind because you were all in it,
Oh
whatever
yeah.
you were saying.
Okay, yeah. I'm not sure where I left off. I think I pressed the button. But I was saying that I shifted my mindset to I get the opportunity. I am grateful that Allah has blessed me with the opportunity to share some responsibilities in the house, to help my wife, to help my children. And because I changed my mindset, I do it with love. I do it, and I've taken on responsibilities also because I understand it's a season, right? This is just a time frame. And to have my wife, blessed us with 3 boys, but it's a lot back to back to back, breastfeeding and a lot of things that go into motherhood that I didn't understand. But now I get to see it up close and personal. So I'm just grateful to be able to help, my wife with the opportunity to raise our boys.
Praise be to Allah. I hope people are feeling what I see in how you talk about family and your relationship. So it sounds like also like you give a lot of hours to giving and putting out. So what do you do for yourself? What are some of the things that you do that keep you centered? What are some of your self-care techniques? And just sharing with young men and Black men the importance of self-care.
Self-care is extremely important. And I myself, I've had to learn that, right, over the years, because I've been a giver, a doer, and we define our work with how much work we're doing, but don't realize that you can't pour from an empty cup. So now me having a brotherhood, the FOI, to be able to lean on has been tremendous. So some of the things that I do for self-care, I'll go and play basketball. I love that. I thought I was going to the NBA, if you ask me, right? But, I still get to go play basketball, go to the gym, watch some shows in some cases, to just get to hang out, talk to my brothers, spend time with my nieces, my nephews, where we'll go to the movies. So just having leisure activities with my family, I love that the most. I think that gives me a lot of satisfaction. Also, going to the spa, just sometimes just really relaxing, just kind of having an opportunity to decompress. These are the things that I do, and it helps, refuel me, to keep going.
Yeah. Yes, sir. In your business, what are some of the credit pitfalls that you find that is most common that we need to know about? And what are some of the first things that we can begin to do to restore credit, even if we couldn't get to a service like yours? How do we get into the mindset of financial literacy and application? Because we have the generation ahead of you, a lot of my generation did not get that. And so we're in crunch time. And now we have you all as young men talking Black wealth. We're talking about being able to provide for our families and transferring wealth, language that some of us didn't get. So can you talk a little bit about the business, some of the pitfalls that we need to watch out for, and how we can begin, no matter what your age is, to get a hold of finances with financial literacy?
Yes, great question. First things first, I like to teach a concept called discipline over dollars, right? We have a lot of money that comes through our bank accounts, through our fingers, and we don't realize how much money we have flowing through our community because we're not able to track our money, right? So the first thing is building out a budget so you can see how much money you have coming in, what you have going out, and put your money to work. The goal is to be able to have your dollars work harder for you than you work for it. But we have to know what dollars we have and where it's going. That's first and foremost, because you can make millions of dollars and spend millions of dollars, right? There's a stat that says about 70% of athletes and entertainers, they go broke after 7 years. 70% of people that win the lottery, they go broke after 2 to 3 years, right? Because they haven't had the discipline, the mindset, the skill set, the characteristics. They haven't become the person to actually receive those blessings. So I think that's first and foremost, is changing our mindset and being disciplined with our money and understanding what's coming in, what's going out. The second step, now, once we have that down, we want to go and look at our credit reports and check out what is called our financial health. And you can do this completely free. There's websites and you can go to freeannualcreditreport.com. You also have credit check total. The website is $1, but look at your credit report so you can see what's on there. You'll be surprised how many people I speak to that they don't even know their credit score because they just never looked, right? I know my cousin, he had an 800 credit score, didn't even know it. So he had so much opportunity to utilize his credit because he paid his bills on time, but he didn't know that this was even available to him. So just looking at your credit, going on these free platforms to see what's there is important. And then there's 5 main factors that make up the profile. And if you understand this, it would set you up. It's the foundation. And the factor number 1 is your payment history. And that's 35% of your score. So that's your ability to make payments on time, over time. Very simple. The second component is your debt usage, which is 30%. And that's how much of your credit that you're using. So I advise anyone starting out, if you do apply for credit, never spend the maximum amount of credit. Right? You want to make sure that you do what is called a divide by 3 rule. So we only spend a third of the available credit that we have been given to us. Right. So if you focus on those 2 factors alone, you'll be in a good space. 650, 670, credit score plus. And then the last 3 is pretty much just the bonuses. So that's having a diversified mix of credit. So there's different types of credit accounts you can have, making sure that you keep your credit open and not closing it, and not applying for too many different types of credit accounts. So this is the foundation that I like to teach so we can understand, how does credit work, right? How do we actually manage our money? And then we can start investing from there.
Praise be to Allah. What is probably the lecture or words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that you kind of keep close to you, that keep you motivated, because you seem to be such a very high energy person? And I'm sure that there are, the things that people say that we do for our own affirmation. How does the minister play into what we see in front of us today?
The minister is the prime example of what we strive to be, right, and do, and go to work. For me, it's go to work. Right? When times are tough, go to work. When the family is not happy, go to work. When your money's not right, go to work. When your spirit is down, go to work. And that stays in my mind, just hearing from the minister, go to work, go to work, go to work, go to work. And he is the example of going to work. So a lot of times, when I'm not in a space mentally, right, emotionally, spiritually, I would turn on a lecture. And one of the lectures that was super powerful, I can't remember the exact name of the lecture, but I refer to it. Oh, the man and his mission. There we go. The man and his mission. That is that I sleep on, I eat on, I breathe on, because it reminds me of the obstacles that's going to come with striving, right? The obstacles that comes with being able to become the God that we are, but knowing that struggle was ordained, right? And knowing that every single obstacle is truly an opportunity for us to get closer to Allah, God himself.
You mentioned us in terms of being God. How were you, or how did you receive when you first heard God is a man, and then to learn Master Fard Muhammad as our God in this dispensation?
When I first heard God is a man, it was electrifying for me, because I wasn't born in the nation. I didn't grow up. I wasn't privy to this information, and it gave me the confidence that I needed, because being able to understand that, Master Fard Muhammad came in person, right, to be able to wake up us, like bring us from the dead. It really gave me the insight and the confirmation of the things that I need to do to go out there. Because I was teaching credit and finance and business prior to this, but I would be struggling sometimes emotionally, working with everybody out in the field, trying to educate them, but realizing what Master Fard Muhammad came to us in person of Allah God. And understanding that, it just gave me all the confirmation that I needed to know that I am a God.
Praise be to Allah. Well, I have enjoyed this first section.
Yes.
And now I'm going to turn you over to a young black man who's aspiring in many fields, to our brother West. And I look forward to talking to you before we leave. Assalamu alaikum, brother West.
All praises due to Allah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Assalamu alaikum, brother Romel.
Wa alaikum salam, brother West.
Praise be to Allah. It's great to have you on, sir.
Yes, sir.
My first question for you, Sister Latifah, of course, I asked some great questions to get us started. I'm just curious, Master Fard Muhammad left us with those 6 words to let us know to accept our own and be ourselves. I'm just curious, in your line of work, in your field, in your overall mindset, honestly, what do those 6 words mean to you?
That's a beautiful question, brother West. Accept your own and be yourself. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we need to know ourselves, right? And when you know yourself, you love yourself. And when you love yourself, you respect yourself enough to be disciplined enough to do for self. So those words for me, accept your own and be yourself, it gives me the confidence, right? It gives me the confirmation because we look outside for everything else versus looking inside. And whenever there's an obstacle, whenever there's a challenge, whenever there's any type of turmoil that comes my way, I'm reminded that I have every single tool within me to overcome that. And it gives me the opportunity to have my head high when I'm doing business. So when I'm handling or buying a property or I'm negotiating a deal, it gives me an advantage because I have confidence in myself and I know what's rightfully mine. So it allows me to grow faster and do things that, a lot of my competitors may not be able to do because they do not have that knowledge of self.
All praises due to Allah. Thank you for sharing that with us. Like he said, those were the greatest 6 words that he spoke. So,
yes, sir.
To Allah. My next question for you, it's no secret that you've been able to be financially stable, to put it lightly, honestly. And I'm just curious, as someone who hopes to get there one day, inshallah, what's the first step to becoming a millionaire, if you had to describe it?
The first step is believing it, right? In your mind. You have to truly believe it. Before I ever touched $1 million physically, tangibly, I believed it in my heart, in my mind. So it's something that you have to think in your mind. And once you believe it, like that's 90% of the work. The other 10% is actually a plan and working that plan and having a plan that's proven. So I believe in mentorship, right? I believe in education and having someone else that have done the thing that I'm looking to do. I invest and pay them whatever that price is so that I can do that thing at a faster time frame. So the first step, again, is to really change your mind. And the fastest way for me and what I teach is investing in businesses that are already working, right? We think about entrepreneurship and we automatically think of starting something from scratch, a new business idea that you've been passionate about. But I encourage a lot of people to think further than just starting a business from scratch. You can actually buy something that someone else already built, right? It may be a laundromat, it may be a car wash that somebody else already built, operated, and now you can go buy what they have built, and that'll get you to your goals faster. But if you don't see it, if you don't believe it, you won't be able to seize it.
All praises due to Allah. I feel like definitely on to something with that one. And next, personally, I've heard the quote that your network is your net worth. That in a sense, the people that are in your circle can really lead you to certain opportunities depending on who's in your circle. So what does, what we've been taught, friendships in all walks of life, problem 13, what does that really look like for you?
Me, brother West, I have a different thought process than that. Yes, our network is our net worth, but I believe before that your self-worth is your net worth. Right? How do you feel about yourself? How do you believe about yourself? The knowledge that you have of self is truly your net worth, because that's going to create the network that you're looking for. So when you shine bright and you showcase the God in you and you walk through with your head high, your shoulders high, then you're going to attract the right people. I think, a lot of people, they don't reach the levels of success because they have a circle that they think is in their corner when really they're in a cage, right? They're not in a circle, they're in a cage because they have people that are not pouring into them, people that's not challenging them, people that's not holding them accountable. So I think if you hold yourself accountable, first and foremost, you believe in yourself, then you're going to attract the right people. And then those individuals that you don't have to convince. So the reason why I'm sharing is because when you have the right people around you, you don't have to convince them to go and work just like you. You don't have to go convince them and drag them out of bed to go out and do the work that you're doing. You're going to be sparring partners and sharpen each other up. And when you do that, that's when you have infinite potential and success.
Praise be to Allah, and I can definitely agree with that perspective. I think, like you said, knowledge yourself really, and then self-esteem, that's very important.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. If you had to tell us of, an experience or a milestone that really strengthened the confidence in your business, and I'm sure you already, like you said, confident already that you would see $1 million. But of course, we know that trials do purify. If there was a moment that just really made you feel like, okay, I know this happened, but I'm sure this is for me, what would that moment be?
My very first deal, Brother West, I made $157,000. And I didn't spend $1 out of my own pocket. Wow. It sounds insane. It sounds too good to be true. But that's the moment that the light bulb went off and it clicked. And I said, this is doable. Couldn't make this thing up. And, just to give you a little bit of context around it, I was learning real estate, right? And I ended up coming across a family that was going through a pre-foreclosure. So that's when you buy property, you fall behind on your mortgage, and now the bank is going to foreclose or take the property away from you unless you come up with a creative strategy. So I was able to sit down with the owners of the property and the bank, and I worked out what is called a short sale, which means the bank was able to sell me the property for a discount, and they waived the balance, and the sellers of it, the owners of it, they didn't have to pay that balance, and everybody was able to walk away, right? But I had this property, it was a 2-family brownstone in Brooklyn, and the price point was $590,000, but I didn't have the money. And this is how Allah is so good, because it forced me, it challenged me to be creative and tap into my network, which is what you said earlier. Your network is your net worth. And I end up connecting with a lady that she's seen something in me. She said, I love your drive, I love your passion. And she said, I want to give you a hand up. And she ended up working with me and found me an investor that put up the entire $590,000 for me. I put no money up out of my pocket, Brother West. I just had to split the deal, the profits 50-50. We put that property back on the market, sold it for $1.2 million. And after I split my profits, paid my commissions, liens, I personally walked away with $157,000. I was only 23 years old at that time, walking away with that type of money. And I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't unsee it. That showed me if I just do this 10 times and another 20 times, another 30 times, if I just keep doing this, I'll be able to have, the growth that I'm looking for financially.
Wow, praise be to Allah. I thank you for telling that story. That's very inspiring, man. I did mean to ask you, you spoke on, becoming a millionaire, but what was the first million you made, if you had to share? Because I'm honestly curious.
Yes, sir. So it's two ways to become a millionaire, right? You can earn your way to millionaire status, or you can own your way to millionaire status. Most people think that millionaires have $1 million cash sitting in their bank account. And I used to have that mindset where I used to think I need to have $1 million cash. So I was a millionaire before I touched $1 million cash. And it's because I had owned millions of dollars in real estate. So my very first time I hit $1 million in net worth, I was probably about 29 years old. And I had, a bunch of different properties. I didn't have $1 million cash, but I had $1 million, multiple millions of dollars in assets, right? When I first touched $1 million, and I don't know if you can see right here in the back, so I got 2 plaques behind me. But
See a little bit.
when I started to serve others, right, and I share this, and it's so powerful. The money that you receive is just the receipt for the value that you provide. When you focus on the impact instead of the income, that's when you're going to have the outcome, right? When you focus on having more passion for people than passion for profits, that's where you're going to have your progress. These are the principles that I teach. So I wasn't able to touch my first $1 billion cash until I started servicing others. So when I started my education company and I started teaching people about finance, credit, and building my brand, that is when I was able to make $1 million in 30 days. I did a big event and I did a massive marketing plan. I helped so many people fix their credit and get started investing. And because of those services, a lot of people paid me. And in a 30-day span, I was able to make $1 million cash. That was the first time I seen $1 million at once. But that was like maybe 4 years later after I had $1 million in net worth, is what you would say.
All praises due to Allah. And I thank you for making that distinction because, honestly, when I was a little bit younger, I did think like a millionaire, you always have to have $1 million, So, no, seriously, that's powerful right there. My personal question that I've been thinking about for a while, honestly, and I'm just curious on your opinion of it. Do you believe that another Black Wall Street is possible to obtain in this day and age?
Absolutely. That's why I teach, because I truly believe it's possible, and we have the best example, right? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us the 3-year savings plan to save 5 cents per day, 25 cents, a week. But if we take that down to the modern time, we can do some phenomenal things. And I've done it on a small scale. So what I started out doing is what is called a family susu, is a family savings plan, where we would put up, $200 every single month, and we would circulate the money to invest. And with my family, just 8 of us, we've been able to go out there and build $20 million in family wealth through investing, insurance, businesses, valuation, just with 8 of us, right? So that gave me the confirmation that, with 500 of us, 1,000 of us, we can do it. But it starts with the mind and the spirit. And if we don't have the spirit to do it, if we don't have the mind to do it, we're not going to be able to accomplish it. But when I started my mentorship program, I started teaching because I wanted to duplicate myself. And I said, if I can do this, but if we can have more of us do this, that's how we can hit those goals. So to answer your question, Brother Wes, I do believe we can have another Black Wall Street, but not if we don't collectively come together, with the spiritual and the mind first and foremost.
All praises due to Allah. I definitely agree as well. It's possible. It's just work that needs to be done.
Yes, sir.
And my next question for you, I believe Sister Alita might have a question or two as well. But I feel like there's always, well, not always, but oftentimes there's a book or maybe even a certain movie that people that are in your position might recommend for others that haven't gotten there yet to check out or watch or read. Do you have any book or documentary or movie that you would recommend to anybody looking to get started on, building wealth?
Yeah, for me, a few books that changed my mindset about building wealth in particular. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This is where I started to learn the difference between being rich and poor. And it wasn't about money, believe it or not. Being rich and poor is a mindset. So a lot of us, we may say we're poor, but that's because we're passing over opportunities repeatedly, right? When we see an opportunity that's valuable, we think about the lack versus the like. You think about what if it went wrong instead of thinking about what if it went right. So just developing that rich mindset, that happened early when I started reading the Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Another book called The Go-Giver, beautiful book. When I read that book, that's when I learned, being able to give your way to success, right? Because the companies, the businesses that provide the most value, the businesses that are able to solve the biggest problem. When you solve the biggest problem, you get the biggest paycheck. That's truly how you make money. It's about, hey, what is the problem that most people are having? If I could spend the most time finding a way to get that solution to this problem, that is how I make the money. And I started to learn that in the Go Giver. How do I give? Like, instead of me being a go getter, how do I be a go giver? The University of Success is also a powerful book when it comes to finance that I read as well. That helped me out tremendously.
All praises due to him. Definitely have to check those out. I know Rich Dad Poor Dad is, the ultimate classic.
Yeah, that's legendary.
Right. So I'll check out the Go Giver. And who is the Go Giver by?
Bob Berg. Yeah.
Gotcha. Make sure to put that in the comments as well. Switching gears a little bit. I know we've been talking about finances and whatnot, but at the end of the day, as an FOI, I'm curious, and I think that your, overall, maybe you could say like popularity could tie into this, but the new generation, it's honestly, it's critical out there. It's a lot going on. As an FOI, what do you say to the young brother on the street about joining the Nation of Islam and maybe accepting the teachings in his own?
What I say to the younger generation, man, is discipline, right? We are spiritual military, right? And this was the toughest thing for me, before I joined the ranks, and being completely honest, man, I wasn't ready to be as disciplined. I wasn't ready to join a rank and a structure with protocol, right? I wasn't ready to go into an environment where I was truly going to be held accountable. And that's truly what we need, right? If you are out here with no boundaries, no discipline, no accountability, that's the fastest way to crash. And I strive to be the example. So when we talk about finances, because as you know, man, out here, young people, it's all about the dollar, it's all about the money. If you got the money, you got the car, you got the house, and you can probably get their mind for a little quick second, right? But if you're not disciplined with your money, you're gonna lose it. But if you're not disciplined with you personally, you can't even think about the money, right? We got to get the mind right before we get the money right. And as an FOI, you have a brotherhood that gives you accountability. You also have a step-by-step blueprint of what does it look like to truly be a man of God, right? To be for me, Allah blessed me with financial success prior to joining the Nation of Islam, but I still had a gap, right? I still felt empty because I was making this money, but I was keeping up with the Joneses, as they would say, right? I was still out here with lust, right? I was still out here, because making money just magnifies the bad habits, right? Or the person that you really are, it just magnifies it. So I needed to be able to have some boundaries and some guardrails, to say, for lack of better words, to be able to help me to keep the money, because it's one thing to go and make the money, is another thing to actually keep the money. And I want to help the young generation know. I want to help you become the person that never loses it.
All praises due to me, Ron. I thank you for sharing that. That's very important. Before I continue on to my next questions and the rest of our program, family, we just want to remind you that you are tuned in listening to WHID-FM. What has Islam done for me? We thank you for tuning in and spending your valuable time, because without you, there is no WHID-FM. So if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube already or followed us on Facebook, we definitely encourage you to do so. Also, if you have any suggestions, you can send us an email at whid1919@gmail.com. And next week, our guest will be, inshallah, Brother Dr. Michael Muhammad from Atlantic City, New Jersey. So make sure you tune in for that wonderful episode right back here on WHID-FM. And with that, we'll be right back after these messages.
Everybody join in this melody. That's the only way we're gonna be free. Everybody singing this sweet refrain. Sing this melody till it gets in your brain. Well, I'm talking to you, Muslim, Christian, and the Hebrew. Anything to do, we got to unite, or else we are through. Everybody sing.
Assalamu alaikum. This is your brother Romel Muhammad, the owner of Supreme Styles Collections, an online haberdashery where we sell accessories, books, body butters, prayer rugs, even supplements. So we have what a man needs spiritually, physically, and mentally. And with our help in making our brothers into a well-made man and presentable to the community and world, just like you put a bow on top of a gift, you can purchase one of my bow ties and pocket squares handmade by me. They are the right size with the 2 dimples, the 3-inch clip, and a 12-inch matching handkerchief. So come on and start a new collection and check out our selection at SupremeStylesCollections.com. That's the new website. And also follow us on Facebook at Supreme Styles Collections. Also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at LaRon Muhammad. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
All praises due to Allah. And that's right, family. We want to encourage you all to support the Supreme Being Pod, because this delicious, world famous treat is not only delicious, but it also supports Black independent education one pod at a time, because all proceeds are donated to MUI Chicago. So visit thesupremebeingpod.com today to either purchase a pod or make a donation. Also, you heard from our brother Isaiah with his brand Peace Guard apparel. You can check them out at Peace Guard apparel on Instagram, and also brother Moran at SupremeStylesCollections.com. We just want to, support our brothers and sisters out there who are striving their best to make a change in that community. So praise be to Allah. And with that, brother Romel, my next question for you before I turn it back over to Sister Latifah, I'm curious, when you're not, I guess, just busy in your everyday life with raising your 3 sons, also managing your business, or even, at the mosque, just fulfilling your FOI duties. What are some things that you do in your spare time to just, take a breather from everything?
Basketball, that's my thing, brother Wes. I love basketball. That's when I need to go and just kind of do some downtime. I love listening to music as well. One of the things I love to do, and really just strategizing, thinking about the future. How can I help more people? But those are the things I like to do in my spare time, when I'm not working or with the family or at the mosque.
All praises due to Allah.
Yes, sir.
And with that, I believe we will turn it over to Sister Latifah at this time.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That was a energy-packed session there between you and Brother West. All praises due to Allah. Steel sharpening steel, as they say. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Over the years, we hear a lot of information on credit repair, and you hear about scams and ripoffs and things like that. What makes your service different, and what should people look for to avoid, being taken in that field?
That's a great question, Sister Latifah. So there's a lot of people online that's doing things the wrong way. They're going about repairing credit or disputing items the wrong way, unlawfully, right? Not the legal route. So what makes me different and my company is that we have a software, right? We have a software that we've been able to build, and the software is built upon actual laws, right? It's built upon real verbiage and practices that are in our favor. We've done the research. We've studied time and time again. We've actually become certified in the credit repair industry. And there's a lot of people that's doing credit repair and restoration, but they're not certified. They haven't done the actual test and qualifications and requirements. And, that's what makes us completely different. And then the last piece is just the impact on helping so many people. We love for that to be what really carries our work, is through referrals, through people actually having real results and having a genuine and happy service with us. That's what makes us very, very different.
I hear you use the pronoun we a lot.
Yeah.
Did the economic blueprint from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and pooling resources, did that help you? And how do you say your team is unique in doing what you do?
Yes, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he gave us the 12-point program. He also told us to pull our resources together, and that's the example that we follow. So when I say we a lot, I'm speaking about my family. So I have an older sister and I have 2 brothers. So one of the things that we did to pull our resources together, we actually put up money every single month, and we take the money to invest towards someone's financial development. We have what we call family legacy meetings, right? So we meet, and for example, month 1, we each put up $200, and we take the money and we invest towards my dad. He actually became a private money broker. So any deals that we go out there and we buy real estate, he's the one that broker the deals, and we keep the money in-house. We also invested so my brother could become a financial advisor and life insurance specialist. So he helps us set up our policies. He's the one who advises us. So every single month or quarter, depending on what we have available to us, we would invest towards somebody else's development to get some type of training to help pay down some debt collectively. So that's why I always say we, because it's never been about me. It's always been about we. And we've been able to get this blueprint through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the 12-point program.
All praises due to Allah. Yeah. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sister Lawita, because she's the Queen Lawita. And so I'm going to turn it over to her. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Lawita.
Assalamu alaikum. Praise be to Allah. This is so good. I love your energy. It's so refreshing, so positive, and just so inspiring. Not motivational or motivating, but inspiring, because it's a difference, right? So thank you. Well, I do have a couple of questions, maybe 3. Okay. I want to start off with my first one. With the example set by your father, along with his tutelage, right? Yes. Would you say that your morals and your character was somewhat parallel to what you learned after joining the Nation of Islam?
Absolutely. Great question, sister. One of the things that my dad always told me, and I struggled with it growing up, he would always tell me, "Man, make the clothes don't make the man," right? And what he meant by that, because growing up, I used to think I used to need to put on designer clothes, right? I used to have to put on all these labels to feel valuable, right? And just growing up, in the city. And once I was able to really mature, I realized that the real, when you say man make the clothes, meaning that I have the self-worth, right? I decide no matter what I put on, it's about the confidence that I have, right? Because it's not on you, it's what's in you. And that's truly the teachings of the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is knowing yourself, knowledge of self, right? When you have that self-awareness, that self-confidence, that self-love, you can walk into a room, right? You can actually inspire others, right? You can create impact, and it's not a arrogance, right? It's more of a humility, because you're a servant leader. And I watched the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan lead, but as a servant leader, right? And that's truly, how do you do it? How do you do it? And I'm just blessed for us to have the example. So yes, my dad planted a lot of these seeds, but now being in the Nation of Islam and having these teachings, I could see an actual blueprint. Right now, it's something I could follow and see that's practical.
That's beautiful. All praise to Allah. God has entered the room, right? They better recognize. So my next question is, can you see more clearly, Brother Romel, why the enemy destroyed us from the science of business, mating, and warfare? And did that ever affect you emotionally, even if it was silent and nobody knew, but just in your heart and in your mind, looking at our people suffer due to a lack of knowledge? So can you see that more clearly?
Absolutely. I can see it very, very clear. And I still struggle with it to today, right? And we're overcoming it every single day. But you know, they say if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book, right? And unfortunately, I believe that, you know, me navigating and understanding that you have to read, right? And being able to have the ability to read has been impactful. And I think that that's something that has been like not pushed and cultivated in our community. And I've been able to battle that because a lot of people I give books to, I forget, hey, look, read this, Message to the Black Man. It's a struggle to really get us to read. But once we do it, it's really going to expand your mind and it will build your confidence. So battling that has been a struggle. But the other thing I would say is, you know, going out and working at a job that, you know, you're building somebody else's family legacy and they giving you pennies on the dollar to go trade your time. It's tough. Now you don't spend a lot of time with your wife. You don't spend a lot of time with your children, right? Or you don't spend a lot of time with your husband, depending on, you know, what role it is, what was going on. But because you're so tied up to working all of these hours, which is designed, right? That's why we want to do for self, so that we can invest, we'll have businesses, and we can actually work together to spend more time together. It has really you try to cause a divide, you know, but with the teaching of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know, this is what we are able to withstand and overcome, and as long as we follow the blueprint.
That's beautiful too. Thank you for that answer. Yes. And my next question is, what have you learned about the value of the woman, marriage, and family since you become a registered FOI?
I've learned that you don't know how strong you are if you're a real man until you have a wife and a family. That's just what I'm like, because it was easy for me to, you know, build up finances and, you know, make money and start businesses. But you know what's been extremely hard? Being able to maintain a happy household, because it's not about money.
Right.
It's about having the attention, paying attention, like slowing down. Like when you're in business, you're moving fast. It's all about numbers, but that's not the case when you have a wife, you have children. It's about showing that you actually care. It's about taking out the time. It's about planning. It's about detail. And I think that has been a great challenge that I've loved to actually continue to overcome. And it has helped me build other skills that I didn't even know I needed. I didn't know I had a challenge with being able to communicate effectively, right? But you may communicate one thing that someone else may not hear, your wife may not hear, or your children may not hear it. So it helped me become a better communicator in business and in finance because of the skills that I've been able to build in my household. So I just believe you don't really know, you know, who you are as a man yet until you truly have a wife and a family.
All praises due to Allah. Great answers. I wasn't surprised. I expected nothing but the best from you, my dear. May Allah continue to bless you, beloved.
Thank you.
Sister Latifa. Thank you for allowing me to question you. Well, I can ask another one since they.
Oh, I'm here.
So, I want to talk about something that you were saying. I can't remember it verbatim, but it put me into something that Brother Nuri said about we don't always understand the difference between unity and uniformity. So when you're doing your deals or you're doing business with others that may not be in the nation, can you see the unity and the similarity that you all are on the same mission to be successful in your business?
That is an amazing question, Sister Lawita. And I love that quote by Student Minister Muhammad because I always reference it. Because, you know, just the truth, everybody I do business with, business partners, my team members, everybody have a different faith, right? Or what they believe. And I actually lead with the words from Student Minister Muhammad that there's a difference between uniformity and unity, right? He breaks down how, you know, uniformity is looking the same, dressing the same, speaking the same. We don't need to do that, right? but we need to unify as long as we know that we have one goal and one mission. So I take that and I apply it to business when I'm leading my team and we having our meetings, we having our goals. If we all can just be on the same page, we know that we have the same goal. We don't need to look the same, speak the same, and believe the same, as long as we know we have this mission for freedom, justice, and equality. And that's what I live by, and I lead by example. So no matter what your beliefs are, I still show you love. I respect what you do. I don't talk down on what you do. I just strive to create a space where I just be the you know what they say, just put the clean glass, right? Be the example as best as possible, and then we just go from there. But that is a great question.
That's really, really good. Thank you. All praises due to Allah. And I think I have another question or comment. When you're teaching our people and you're giving out books, right? I read somewhere, it was someone on social media, and they made a comment saying that we were killed for reading. Now we won't read to save our lives. Would you say that it is because we need to be elevated? And I think it because trash, we make time for that. Either low conversation or inappropriate information, magazines, books, or whatever. We make time for that. Would you say that we have to become just a little bit more elevated in our thinking? How would you begin to encourage or inspire and redirect?
Your environment will change you way before you change it. And I think creating an environment of accountability and encouragement helps out tremendously. So, in my program, we have a book club, because not everybody, because we have social media and we have AI and everything is instant now, where we don't want to go the extra mile to do anything. We don't want to read anything if it's going to take too long. We don't want to wait in line. We don't want, if it's not fast, instant, we don't want it, right?
Right.
So, that's not good. So what I strive to do is just create the environment where you're not alone. So it gives you more confidence to do it together, and we have more progress. And that's what we get here in the Nation of Islam, being able to have a brotherhood, sisterhood, to be able to, do it together. So every single morning, I talked about it earlier, we have what is called the Power Hour. And my brother Saeed out of Rochester, he leads the Power Hour, but we read the study guides. Like this morning, we do study guides. And, that allows us to be able to do the things that may have been harder if we was doing it individually. And we know that with a lot of the forces that's going on right now is enforcing us and encouraging everybody to just do less and have less patience and not read and not pick up a book and just think that we could just AI and chat GPT something and get us the answer. And that's just not the case.
Because you went right in my head and snatched out a word. And I was like, how did you know that? Because would you say that reading requires people to be patient, and the world feeds instantaneous behavior and results? You get your food out of a cubicle, everything's real quick and fast. So nobody really wants to be still, right? So would you say that if just to be still and read, it just requires some patience, because people want that instant gratification? And would you also say that is a level of because when you read the study guides, the minister talks about the baby that's impatient, right? And crying red, I want what I want and I want it now. And when I heard the minister on the Final Call radio, he said when you're impatient, that affects, how did he word it? I don't want to misquote it. My daughter had road rage, and she was getting upset while driving. And he was saying that when you have that kind of upset, that's how wicked people respond. Righteous people respond with patience and discipline. So would you say that we don't want to read because we just don't have the patience? We want to be moving.
We don't have the patience, right? And I had to reflect on this, because even in my own development, the minute that I just sat down and just kind of gave myself a break, I felt like I wasn't working. I wasn't doing something, right? You got to feel like I'm always got to be moving and doing something to fulfill my time. And just be still, be patient. right? And reading does that. Just be patient, be still. And I think that that's a challenge that we do have, and we want to help bring more awareness to it so we don't have those issues. But I do agree with you 1,000%. Reading does cause you to be still, cause you to be patient. And in business, you're not going to have a result right away, right? You have to be willing to continue to invest. You have to continue to do the work. You may not even see it, right? You may not see the fruits of your labor or any benefits right away, but knowing that it will one day be able to be successful, you'll get back the return. That's why I see why a lot of people may not be successful in business, because they want a fast return. And it boils down to patience, and reading can definitely help you build that.
All praises due to Allah. The quote that the minister said is, "What upsets the wicked doesn't upset the righteous." So
praise be to Allah.
So thank you, because this could go on and on. I can give me a cup of coffee, and next thing I know.
Yes.
Thank you so much. May Allah continue to bless you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah.
All right, I'll return it back to Sister Latifa. Well,
let's see, Sister Latifa.
Well, okay. Let me ask you this thing. Being an entrepreneur, someone that's working for yourself.
Yep.
Would you say is percentage-wise, what would you say is faith-based? Because working for yourself, you creating your own reality. Nobody's giving you anything. You got to go out here and make it happen. I wonder if doing for self is associated with having a lot of faith. What are your thoughts?
1,000%. I believe that wealth is spiritual. That's what I personally believe, because in order for you to be an entrepreneur and you see an idea that nobody else sees, like Allah God, He put it in your mind that this is a vision to go out there and build this business and fulfill on this dream that nobody else sees, and it's not tangible. But you have to do the work day in and day out and be tired and give it everything you got until it's sometimes empty or even negative, and do that long enough to finally see a result that you can tangibly feel, touch, and have.
Yes,
that's a spiritual. That's spiritual for me, right? And I think that having faith is extremely important in that process, because if you don't have faith in that process, it'll be easy for you to give up. And that's going to be the make or break, for your business completely.
Yes, sir. Well, the superstar's back on the stage, Sister Latifa.
Somebody banished me to the outer limits, and I was talking and couldn't get to you all. I'm like, no. But it was wonderful. Like you said, when the unseen hand takes over, we get the kind of energy that we have here tonight. So this is absolutely beautiful. Praise be to Allah. I have just a few closing questions before we get to the end, Brother Romel. The work that you do and the call of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for us to make our communities decent and safe places to live. How is your work impacting that call in your community?
Great question. Many ways, but one of the major things that we do every single quarter, we would travel to a different city and we would buy out a Black-owned restaurant and feed the community, right? So it's going to help in multiple ways. We buy out the Black-owned restaurant, which will help us support another Black-owned business and entrepreneur to support our own, but we're also feeding and helping our community, letting them know that we love them, letting them know that we care, letting them know that we serve them, and it attracts a large amount. We did this in Philadelphia. We fed about 1,500 families and bought out a Black-owned restaurant. We did it in New York City, fed 500 families, bought out a Black-owned restaurant. But when we attract our people, we show them that we love them and we care and we give back and we're pulling the community. My student minister, Arthur, he says, when you have an invested interest, you don't mind making an investment. And when we do business in a community, we should be able to service and give back to the same communities. But the biggest blessing is when we are able to be the representation and we invite our community and our guests out to the mosque. And we have people that I know when we did it in New York a couple weeks ago, we had a first timer come out from the give back, seeing us in the community, came out to the mosque the very next day, stood up and accepted his own. All right. So these are the yes, it's phenomenal to be able to, be a part of that process through giving back and making our communities a decent and safe place to live.
Well, you answered my last question, my next to last question, and that was, what is it for you to be a savior? As the minister said, we will send saviors. So you answered that question all in one. So with all of that, Brother Romel, and of course, the title of this show is What Islam Has Done for Me. What has Islam done for you?
Sister, I have so many words. I'm striving to find the right word. But what I would say, Islam gave me the confidence that I need. Islam has reminded me, and Islam has helped me to become the God that I always believed I was and didn't know how to get there. Like just simple things that I thought that I had figured out until I was able to accept my own. One of the things that I really hold on to till today is rising above emotions into the thinking of God. Because as Black men, I know for me growing up, we would make a lot of irrational decisions because we didn't have the emotional capacity, the emotional control, the emotional intelligence. So being in control of your emotions as a man has helped me tremendously. I gotta thank the teaching of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad for that. This is what Islam has done for me. Being able to be a good steward of the financial success. That is what Islam has done for me. And also helping me to be able to know that there's more levels to go beyond money. How do you become the best version of yourself? And it's having the most knowledge of self. That is most important. And that is what Islam has done for me. And I am forever grateful for Allah God and Master Fard Muhammad for coming in person and saving me.
Praise be to Allah. Would you share with us either your website or how people can get in touch with you to learn more about your business? Certainly, but just to feel what you give, can you give us those contacts and information?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm on YouTube. You can type in Mogul Elite Club or Mogul Lifestyle. So that's MOGUL-LIFESTYLE, Mogul Lifestyle on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or they can text. They could text 347-429-6496. They can text me there. I'm always giving out free classes, free information, free resources. Because again, it's never about me, it's all about we. So again, 347-429-6496. They can text me and I'll be able to provide a lot of free information and free resources to get started financially.
All praises due to Allah. Thank you so much. Any parting words that you would leave with us?
Yes, I would like to thank you. First and foremost, I would thank you, Sister Latifa, for being a great host today. I would like to thank Brother Wesley, Sister Lawita. I would like to thank Brother Donald for putting this all together. I had an amazing experience, and this is truly life-changing for me. I've done, podcasts. I've done different interviews at different stages, but this right here is the most meaningful because I'm able to be amongst us in the Nation of Islam and really be able to shed light on what Islam has done for me. And those platforms that I go on, unfortunately, that's not the highlight. I'm not able to talk about what Islam has done for me at that level. So I just thank you for giving me the platform and help me build the confidence to do so. I truly am grateful for it. Thank you so much.
All praises due to Allah, and please extend the greetings to your family. And as someone has said, we are looking forward to part 2.
Yes,
in the very near future. Praise be to Allah. So at this time, we're going to get ready for our announcements. Brother West. All praises due to Allah. We hope you have enjoyed tonight's show. I mean, it's not even a show. Tonight's experience is more of what we have had here on WHID-FM. And as Sister Janine would say, we hope you have enjoyed it, and I'm sure you have. And if you'd like to learn more about the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and study with the Nation of Islam, then please go to www.noi.org, study. And if you'd like to join the Nation of Islam, you can go to www.wnoi.org, join. And if you'd like to speak to someone about the Nation of Islam, you can actually call the headquarters in Chicago. And that number is 773-324-6000. So please reach out and get yourself connected to the Nation of Islam, your nation. And of course, the great Final Call Radio on finalcall.com. You can listen to it 24 hours a day on all of your devices. You will hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught to us through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It will keep you up with the current news. It will keep you up with beautiful music that you can listen to, and above all, tuning in to the truth. And that is the Final Call Radio at finalcall.com. And of course, our number one minister after the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the Final Call newspaper. So please get your subscription today. You can get it digital, online, and have it delivered to your desktop, delivered to your phone, your laptop, whatever device you have. And we also want to keep in mind that you can get a subscription delivered to your door. You can also find brothers throughout America and other places who will be out selling the Final Call newspaper and willing to deliver it to you right there on the spot. And we want to keep our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated in mind and give subscriptions to them so that they can keep up with the truth. And again, as brother was saying earlier today, so that we are not in a cage, a free mind and reading. The Final Call newspaper will make you free regardless to your circumstance. And now we have our wonderful book, I Never Knew I Am All That. And this book is written and produced by our producer here, Brother Donald Muhammad. It is the book that you can get at Amazon for a great rate. And with school opening now and reading literacy at the top of the list, I Never Knew I'm All That is the book that you want in your young children's hands. Beautiful illustrations by Sister Amina Lay. And if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, the student minister Tracy Muhammad and the believers invite you to come to Muhammad Mosque number 24 every Sunday. Come and hear the reality of God. And that's at Hobson Lodge at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, 801 Prince Hall Drive, Richmond, Virginia, 23224. And again, student minister Tracy Muhammad, who is the local representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in Richmond, Virginia, Muhammad Mosque number 24, Hobson Lodge at 11 o'clock a.m. on Sundays, 801 Prince Hall Drive, Richmond, Virginia, 23224. You can also go to noirichmond.org, or you can call 1-800-450-7836. And if you're in the Baltimore area, you can join the Nation of Islam with Muhammad Mosque number 6, being the guest of Brother Abdul Salam Muhammad, who is the student imam of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Their meetings are every Sunday at 11 o'clock at 2801 North Dukeland Street in Baltimore, and that is 21216. You can get information by calling 410-367-9371 or visit www.noibmore.com. Again, that's joining the Nation of Islam every Sunday at 11 o'clock with Brother Abdul Salam Muhammad, who is the student imam of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and they meet at 2801 North Dukeland Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21216. And again, we can reach out to our guest today, Brother Romel 2X, by going to Mogul Lifestyle, or you can text him directly at 347-429-6496. Assalamu alaikum, as we prepare for Eat Well, Be Well. May Allah bless you.
Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful episode of WHID-FM. Welcome to our Eat Well, Be Well segment. We are reading from How to Eat to Live, Book 2, Chapter 42. It's not a very long chapter, so I'll be pretty brief because there was something in this chapter that really stuck out to me. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Eat properly prepared food. The great cause of our illnesses is not eating right and eating too often. Allah, God, wants us to live longer, and the only way that he can lengthen our lives is by us obeying him and eating right. These are important things to remember to obtain and maintain good health and long life. Do not eat too much food at any time. Do not eat too frequently. Eat the properly prepared, right kind of food. Cornbread can be eaten, but you may not want to prepare it as it should be prepared. Allah, God, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, taught me that cornbread should be baked 2 or 3 times and put away and soured each time with yeast. Let it sit in your mold 2 or 3 times. You should bake it and sour it again. And Allah, God, said you should put onions in the dough. So I think you should be very careful in preparing cornbread for eating. It requires a lot of baking. So it's not what he said, it was why he said to put onions in the bread. So I went to the computer and looked up the nutritional benefits of adding onions to cornbread mix. Onions are one of the richest plant sources of quercetin, a flavonoid antioxidant linked to reduced inflammation, improved immune function, and potential heart health benefits. Quercetin may also help support insulin sensitivity, which can be beneficial for blood sugar control. And one thing about the flavonoid antioxidant, it can help improve brain health. So the Savior, Allah, God, is a scientist. This is How to Eat to Live, Book 2, written by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I would like to close with a surah from the Holy Quran, Surah 2, Al-Baqarah, Ayat 71. And the parable, 172, I apologize. O you who believe, eat of the good things that we have provided you with and give thanks to Allah if he it is whom you serve. If it's him that we desire to serve, let's practice how to eat to live. We all know how to eat to die, but let's practice how to eat to live. May Allah bless us all with longevity and good health. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, man. We want to thank you for the Eat Well, Be Well segment. And with that, family, before we close out, I actually had a quote that I wanted to share from our Minister Louis Farrakhan. In a lecture, I believe he said, and no, I'm not exactly sure of the lecture, but the quote was, "The whole human family is wounded. There is no segment of the population of the earth that is not scarred from wounds self-inflicted and inflicted by others in a world that the Quran and Bible say has been ruled by Shaitan or Satan. None of the wounds that we suffer from are without the possibility of healing." Praise be to Allah. And with that, close out. Assalamu alaikum, family.
This house is dedicated to knowledge and to the spreading of knowledge. Elijah Muhammad inspired new thought, new mind, new way of civilization among black people. But he wanted a house from which a light could be lifted up to give guidance to all who would be guided as this world begins to close down. This National Center for the re-education and retraining of the black man and woman, but for the totality of the human family of our planet. I named this mosque after the only woman that the Quran names a chapter after, the mother of Jesus, Maryam. All human beings need to be re-educated. That is the purpose of the National Center.